Welcome back to Good Money. I'm Tanya Rivero in New York, and I am joined by financial expert and best-selling author Robert Kiyosaki. And we're opening our Good Money mailbag with Robert today. He's going to answer some of the viewer questions you've sent in to us. Robert, our first question comes from Christine of Lincoln Park, Michigan. She writes in saying, I owe money to a variety of credit cards and other entities. I attempted to get a debt consolidation loan, but was turned down. There are so many agencies out there that say they help with debt relief, but I'm worried about contacting them. I do not want to make my credit report look any worse than it already does. What would you recommend as the best option to regain control and get back on the financial track? Now, interesting. Christine wants to know if by contacting a debt consolidation loan that would actually hurt her credit score.
That's correct. There's a thing called a secure credit card, and I think it's 800 Express or something like this. Call them, 1-800-EXPRESS, and what they do is they help you reestablish your credit.
Right.
You cannot, what these guys who say cut up your credit cards, they're nuts. How do you survive today without a credit card? So if you've made a mistake, I've made those mistakes. I mean, American Express was my worst enemy about 40 years ago. They were yelling at me, Right. And I said, okay, I got the lesson, so I cleaned up my credit. But you've got to have good credit today. So she's very smart. Just keep looking until she finds somebody that gives her the answer she wants.
Right.
There's a lot of people that will help her, but a lot of people will take advantage of her, and she has to know the difference.
All right, Christine, good luck to you. Now, the next question comes from Ned of Lodi, California. It's right back here. Why not use bankruptcy as a way to clear up debt and start over with no credit cards and a very tight budget? It seems like just about every other entity is getting all kinds of breaks under this administration. So wouldn't now be the time to do something like that? That's right. Ned wants to know, what about me? Where's my break?
Well, what I talk about in Conspiracy of the Rich is you and I don't get bailed out, right? The richest guys get bailed out. I mean, I haven't received my bailout check yet. I mean, have you?
No, I haven't. I haven't gotten one in the mail either.
So that's why I talk about you really have to have financial education today. I have been busted. I've lost 2 businesses. I've never declared bankruptcy. And I looked at, my first business was a nylon and Velcro surfer wallet business as a kid, In my 20s, I was a millionaire, and I thought I was a genius.
Right.
I went straight to my head, fast cars, fast women, gone. Right. So I understand the feeling, but my rich dad said to me, look at this as a time to learn from your mistakes. So if I had just declared bankruptcy, I'd have learned nothing. But I had to rebuild my business, and that was one of the smartest things I've ever done, because that's what made me rich, not what I learned in school. It was learning from my mistakes that made me rich.
So tell Ned what will happen to him if he declares bankruptcy. Why should he not do it?
He should hire some kind of an attorney. The state bars have these guys who will do it pro bono. He is now in a legal problem. He is in a very serious problem. You don't just sit there and talk to me or talk to your mother-in-law or your sister, You really do need professional legal advice. He is in a legal problem. He has broken an agreement with his creditors, and that's serious. Well, only until he takes it serious, he's not going to learn anything.
Right. All right, Ned. Good luck to you. All right. Our next question comes from Maria of Orlando, Florida. Here it is. I started a business 5 years ago before everything went south. It was doing very well, but not anymore. The company needed the startup money, and I used my credit cards and a second mortgage to do so. Now I have more bills than I can pay. I'd like to consolidate, but there are no banks willing to do so. We make over $100,000 last year, and this year is the same. Do I stay or quit? I need help. I'm desperate. Now, Maria has some good income, but she made a mistake, didn't she, by taking on personal debt for her business?
And I want to say, Maria, I've done the same thing, you know. And I was in my 20s and 30s, and thank God I was young at that age. And my rich dad said, look at these as learning experience. So I didn't declare bankruptcy, and I sat down with attorneys and accountants, and they would guide me to work my way out. And through the process, I found out who the most stupid guy on the planet Earth was. Me. But I got smarter every time I did it. See, the big thing about schools, they tell you not to make mistakes. Look, if you don't make mistakes, you can't learn to ride a bicycle if you don't make mistakes.
So, Robert, why
it's a good experience
if she learns from
it.
But why are they not allowing her to consolidate her debt? Is it because her income is too high?
Well, because she's not in trouble. The rest of the world's in trouble. This Federal Reserve thing, which I cover in the conspiracy, see, in 1971, the dollar stopped being money and it became debt. And the only way the U.S. economy could expand is if you and I got into debt. And when the economy got in trouble after 9/11, they opened the floodgates, and that's when the subprime debt went up. And this is what the Fed and the Treasury are not telling people, is that if you and I don't get into debt, we're in depression.
Right.
So that's why interest rates are at 0%. They're trying to get us to borrow money, but the banks are so afraid because they did the same thing you and I did. I mean, the banks did worse than those credit card people did.
Right, absolutely. All right. All right, now we have a question from Joanne of Kissimmee, Florida. Are the debt consolidation companies a good idea? We are drowning in credit card debt, only able to make minimum payments, but we are current. They want us to stop making payments while they negotiate a payment plan. We have cut back on everything and are out of options. I can't tell you, Robert, how many emails we get similar to Joanne's, over their head with credit card bills, can't get consolidation.
Again, in Conspiracy of the Rich, that was the plan.
Yeah.
After 1971, the dollar stopped being money and it became debt. And the only way we could expand was you and I going into debt. Well, the banks kept encouraging it, as well as at Allen Greenspan and Bernanke. But now that it's crashed, they bail out Goldman and they bail out AIG, but they don't bail out you and I. So the answer for this woman, I think, is 1-800-EXPRESS. Not my company, but these guys are very good at giving you advice. And they don't do it to make money off of you. They do it because they want you to learn from experience and get your credit back up. You cannot, look, I'll say it again. After 1971, debt became the way to go. Now, if you don't understand debt and credit, you can't survive today. Right. So you've got to learn how to use debt today. And if you don't clean it up, you don't have credit, you don't make it in the world today.
Robert Kiyosaki, thank you so much for your sage financial advice. And if you have any questions for Robert or any of our other personal finance experts, remember, go to our website. It's abcnews.com/business. Ask us your questions. We'll do our very best to answer them right here on Good Money.